Hi, everyone. Welcome to a very, very special day of Regina Rising. We are here to celebrate this beautiful Earth Day as Earthlings from around the planet. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for witnessing us. Thank you for being witnessed by us in whatever ways, from whichever land or water or element you choose to join us from today. I want to thank everybody on this beautiful vision train who is bringing this beautiful intergalactic garden together. And I want to welcome everyone to our gathering today with a beautiful blessing from Joy Harjo, the US Poet Laureate, who is serving in her second term and who is also the very first Indigenous Poet Laureate of the United States, a land here on the Turtle Island that is my beloved adopted home as an immigrant. So please, I invite you to take a deep breath and step into this blessing with me. For calling the spirit back from wandering the earth in its human feet. Put down that bag of potato chips, that white bread, that bottle of pop. Open the door, then close it behind you. Take a breath offered by friendly winds. They travel the earth gathering essences of plants to clean. Give it back with gratitude. If you sing, it will give your spirit lift to fly to the stars and to the stars' ears and back. Acknowledge this earth who has cared for you since you were a dream planting itself within your parents' desire. Let your moccasin feet take you to the encampment of the guardians who have known you before time, who will be there time after time. They sit before the fire that has been there without time. Let the earth stabilize your post-colonial insecure jitters. Let the earth stabilize your post-colonial insecure jitters. Be respectful of the small insects, the birds and animal people who accompany you. Ask their forgiveness for the harm we humans have brought down upon them. Don't worry. The heart knows the way. Though there may be high rises, interstates, checkpoints, armed soldiers, massacres, wars, and those who will despise you because they despise themselves. The journey might take you a few hours, a day, a year, a few years, 100 years, 1,000 years, or even more. Watch your mind. Watch your mind without training. It might run away and leave your heart for the immense human feast set by the thieves of time. Do not hold regrets. Do not hold regrets. When you find your way to the circle, to the fire kept burning by the keepers of your soul, you will be welcomed, friends. You must clean yourself with cedar, sage, or other healing plant. Cut the ties you have to failure and shame. Cut the ties you have to failure and shame. Let go the pain you are holding in your mind, your shoulders, your heart, all the way to your feet. Let go the pain of your ancestors to make way for those who are heading in our direction. Ask for forgiveness. Call upon the help of those who love you. These helpers take many forms: animal, element, bird, angel, saint, stone, or ancestor. Call your spirit back. It may be caught in the corner and creases of shame, judgment, and human abuse. You must call in a way that your spirit will want to return. Speak to it as you would to a beloved child. Welcome your spirit back from its wandering. Welcome your spirit back from its wandering. It may return in pieces, in tatters. Gather them together. They will be happy to be found after being lost for so long, friends. Your spirit will need to sleep a while after it is bathed and given clean clothes. Now, you can have a party. We can have a party. Invite everyone you know who loves and supports you. Keep room for those who have no place else to go. Make a giveaway. And remember, keep the speeches short. Then you must do this. Help the next person find their way through the dark. Help the next person find their way through the dark. Welcome, everyone. We welcome our spirit, our own spirit, our ancestor spirit, our collective spirit, our earth spirit, our intergalactic spirit back in our circle as we do this most sacred work of regenerative rising. Welcome. Thank you for witnessing and being witnessed. And with that warm welcome, I want to invite Nico, our beautiful regenerative rising magician and weaver, designer, dancer, creator, and much, much more to our circle. Welcome, Nico, and welcome everybody who's here, who's listening now or through time travels. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. You're amazing. What a blessing to have you every morning with us. And welcome everybody to one more day of our Grand Rising Festival of Regenera Rising, celebrating the arrival of Regenera, the floating city, to Earth. That was last year. We're in our second year of this magnificent solar-powered, incredible, inspiring city docking on Earth throughout the decade to help us understand what is possible. Because remember, the future is always first an idea. Today is a very special day, as you know. Every day is Earth Day. We know that, but today we're celebrating extra. And I hope you have gone out and touched the earth today and hugged a tree. That is a mandatory thing to do today. So please do so. Today, I wanted to walk you through a couple things that we've been playing around that I think would be fun. First, I wanted to walk you through actually Regenera. I don't know if we keep talking about Regenera. I don't know if you have visited Regenera yet, but is this incredible virtual world that we have created. It's actually many things. Regenera is a city that came from the sky, and it lives in many places. Every time we gather, we're gathering around Regenera, around the ideas, and we're playing with this immersive world. But on top of that is also a place that you can actually visit. Let me share my screen for a second with you. So Regenera has many different neighborhoods. If you go to regenera.city, you'll be able to learn about the city, and there's a section called the Launchpad. And from the Launchpad, you can access all the different neighborhoods of Regenera. This one is one of my favorites. This is actually called Natura. So since it's Earth Day, we're gonna have a little walk around here. And so this is a spatial web platform called Topia, really amazing friends. And as you can see, you can walk around all these incredible buildings that we have built in Regenera. You can explore all the different projects from the design science studio Revolutionaries. Every year we have 144 creative polymaths that come with us to experience a 7-month program. And at the end of it, this is what we're celebrating. We're celebrating the launch of their projects. And so in here, you'll be able to see many places you can click. You'll see a hand and you can click on it, and you can explore the different projects, and you can walk around and discover all these really amazing things. In this case, Natura is our neighborhood where all the projects are connected to nature and in different ways. And so this is one of the ways in which you can explore the magnificent world of Regenera. But I wanted to show you more things. I also wanted to show you, actually, let me go here. All right. More things I want to tell you. Do you see the screen? All right. All right. So Regenera, world designed by Design Science Studio. So the purpose of Regenera is to create, it's an idea or an ideal, as we would like to call it. It's just like this imagined story universe that allows us to think about what's possible and what would it take to create a world that works for 100% of life. And so because it's a city, it can fit many things. Every time, for example, we have the Futurist Cafe, and that's just like a Zoom cafe where we just get together to imagine these possible things. But any of the creations that you're doing can have a place in Regenera. If you have written a book that is allowing us to imagine, a better world, it can definitely be in the library of Regenera. If you have a space, a physical space that you're building that will host some amazing conversations, it could definitely be part of one of the neighborhoods. Yesterday, if you were here, we were talking about the Green Book, which was the book that was the genesis of this amazing city. And it was created among thousands of citizens that wanted to actually solve things and do things differently. And so what they did is they got together and they started to think what were the things that weren't working in the world that they had, and how they could reimagine different governance systems, different ways of relating to each other, different ways of like operating and relating to nature. And they created this kind of guidebook that became like the guidebook or the beacon, the guiding beacon for building this city. And what we're proposing to you now during the next 10 days is to create a similar book for Earth. So it's going to be the Earth Green Book. And so this book will be composed of short ideas, short, inspiring, one-page ideas that can somehow transform your thinking and the ways in which you operate. And so basically we're gonna base it on aphorisms. An aphorism is a short idea that contains a lot of information and is very logical. We showed you some examples yesterday of some little things that we can put into one page, like one thing that we can put in one page and that we can add an illustration to it. By the way, if you're an illustrator and you want to help us illustrate these ideas, please reach out. We need you. Another thing that will be contained in this green book are new words. And this is another one of the things that we've been working around Regenera. We love to create new words because the words define how we see the world. Let me just give you an example that is like usually used as an example of this. For example, Inuit tribes, they live in the north in a very cold place. And so they have different words for snow. Not for snow itself, but the different kinds of snow. So for example, the snow that is, harder and like difficult to like go through, that has a name, which is different from the very soft snow that is only at the beginning on when it snows. And it's different from the watery snow. Of course, most of us, when we see snow, we just see snow. But if you're an Inuit person that knows these 30 something different words for snow, you're going to be seeing much more than we are. You're going to be seeing an expanded version of the world. And so one of the things that we love to do is to create new words for a new world. And so we're creating a dictionary that is called the Dictionary for a Revolution. And I wanted to show you some of the words that we're creating around Earth and nature, because how much fun this is. For example, what about profit? Profit is similar to profit, but it's different, because when money that is earned after costs in a purpose-driven business that puts the planet first, then is profit. Gaian glow, this one is one of my favorites, also called earth glow. Earth glow is that beautiful, beautiful, very, very thin halo seen from space that marks the separation between space and our atmosphere. Gaian glow, the only border that matters. We also have Numan. Numan is like a human, but acknowledging that we are nature. We have forgotten that we are nature. So we substitute the H for an N, and we incorporate nature into humans, Numans. We also have geocracy. A geocracy is similar to a democracy, but where Earth has the same voting rights as human beings. This one is important. This one I made yesterday. I got inspired. Recolution, similar to revolution. There should be just one resolution to create an ecological revolution. That's a revolution, a recolution. The clutch is in. It's either utopia or oblivion. This one is also fun. Matrinier. Matrinier is said of a person, especially a soldier or sailor, who rebels or refuses to obey the orders of a person in authority. And this word, during the beginning of the regeneration, a campaign by Plan for the Planet got kids from all over the world to send resounding messages to their much more irresponsible adults. Stop talking, start planting. And so the adults who actually listened and ended up planting more than 1 trillion trees were called Mutrineers, which is also related to Grinch. You might have heard it in a different way with an I. This one is with 2 E's, name given to climate activists that boycott the act of cutting down trees for Christmas. So these are just some examples of our dictionary. So what we're inviting you to do is, if somebody from my team can post the link for the green book, that would be amazing. And so we're inviting you to submit your ideas, either your words or just a simple idea or concept that can fit into one page with an illustration. And we're gonna, at the end of the festival, compile all of this and make it into a book that you can share. Cool, right? So we're gonna post the link in a second, and please submit. You can submit as many ideas as you want. I'm gonna end with this quote from one of the elders of Regina. They said, the green book was a bag of seeds. Once we put the ideas that it contained out there, it spread like wildfire. It was simple enough, powerful enough, logical enough. Nothing was the same once we compiled this little book of ideas. It became a manual to follow. It changed everything. So hopefully we'll be able to create a green book for Earth that will change everything. And on that note, Baswa, the mayor of Regina, is also inviting you to become honorary citizens of Regina. And so what you can do is you can fill out a form that will also, I'll send the link in a second. You can fill out a form and become a citizen of Regina. And in there, you'll also find instructions to create one of these citizen cards that will certify you as one of our citizens. You can choose the archetype that represents you the most. These are some of the members of our team. And you can become part of this revolution that we're crafting. And with that, welcome everybody to Earth Day. Welcome to the second day of Regina Rising. And I'm gonna leave you with Faith that will walk you through some other things. It's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome, welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nico. I just want to send out a beautiful Spaceship Earth Day welcome to everybody that's joining us today, both virtually and in presence. I wanted to start with a quote from Buckminster Fuller because it is Spaceship. This is a special day. It's Spaceship Earth Day, or Earth Day, as some people call it. And Bucky said, or Buckminster Fuller said, I do know that technologically, humanity now has the opportunity for the first time in its history to operate our planet in such a manner as to support and accommodate all humanity at a substantially more advanced standard of living than any human has ever experienced. I just want to say we are grounding today with our Spaceship Earth, and we're here with our revolutionaries and artists and a number of incredible visionaries and speakers, and would love for you to all join us for a really incredible experience with Snow Raven. I think, Nico, would you love to introduce Snow Raven?
Oh, absolutely. I would absolutely love to introduce her. Yeah. Is she here? Where are you? Can I see? Oh, it's pre-recorded. Perfect. All the better. Snow Raven. The first time we came across her, I think it was in a little video that we found on the internet. And then we were lucky enough that she came to play with us in the festival that we did in Miami. And I can tell you, it was one of the most transformational experiences that I think everybody that was present there has ever had. She's a singer, but also a magician. She is an incredible human being. Let me pull off. I want to read properly her bio. Okay, I don't have it. No worries. Here. I found it. You might have heard of the most cold inhabited area in the world, near the North Pole, called Yakutia. That's where she is from. She was born and raised in Usqualia, a small village with a population of 600 people. And it was there with the Shaka people of Arctic Siberia that she learned how to mimic the sounds of nature. And let me tell you, this is one of the most incredible things she does. She imitates the sounds of animals in a way that I have not seen any other human do. It's really profound to see how she connects with nature in that way, and like see her kind of birthing the sounds of nature. She was honored with the rare opportunity of meeting the 12 sky shaman Sebi from the Tungus reindeer herders tribe in her homeland. And from this powerful wisdom keeper, Snow Raven received the blessings of the spirits. And ever since, she has been singing, drumming, and channeling, allowing the wisdom, beauty, and power of her ancestors to move, sing, and dance through her. When she performs, it's like seeing nature pouring and like bursting. And the cool thing, in my opinion, is that she's able to do all this, mixing it with incredibly modern music, a music that you want to dance to and that you want to like really hit it on the dance floor. And so really special. We're so lucky that she's sharing some of her talents with us. We're gonna see now a video that she recorded for us, and hopefully you'll be able to catch her live in some of our events.
Thank you. All right. So this is our visionary friend and a gift to this world, Snow Raven of Olax, a shamanic ceremony connecting spirit of nature that she shared with us for today on this very special day. So thank you all, and inviting you to just come into presence as we enjoy this welcoming from Snow Raven.
Analachun khotunum Siriyem bu ortadoydum iççilere paraların bu siktinah ortadoydum canım Karstan, Augustan, Rastan bu kurduk kurutun Rastana, Augustana, qarstana sijjaqqa. Üddeki ayıları, marta daydım iççilere, allara daydım abağalara. Bari birge, denge, ünkülen, oho haydan, toyuktan. O bu kurduk algıstanan, rastanan, arçılanan. İye beylektik, illektik olurukka. Dom, domine dom. O bu süppüt, tümnestibit, happıt. Ayılhan baraksan. Yeserin baraksan, doğtien meha kapsadahan boy. Doğtien meha Allah'tan boy. Bu keretin, çumpuga, utu yahtar, çiçaktare, önüke yürü, isten, keniler doğten biyaga etellerin, ispitinen, etbitinen kamutnan ılnan beriyakka. Hayat! Odun Khan, Çingiz Khan, Yürünger Toyunum, Kümkübey Kotunum, bu ayıl kağabar, mustugut. Doğ baretçiler bir paralarıgar, paralardan atpastağım, arçıladağım, karıstadağım boğuktu. Haristan boailane Sirbidin Haristan arçılan arangaçılan Ürünger toyunum odun khan Gün kübey xotunum Çıngiz Khan жылха toyun Dong suorun Jöhögey ayı toyun Süngjahın toyun Jöhögey ayı Halamılaqsın xotun Ахтар ayı hit ejenge yaxsit kurutun Sürak bar bolun Bar bıstybat bolun Bu kurduk Ehiyaqa kelen Kurutun üne sükte Ehgi küskitiger Erene bilgelen Haristan Kihi qara bolun Teröden boluqtun Dom
Thank you, Snow Raven, for touching the earth for us, for bringing us into the embodiment of what you're feeling and seeing. That was beautiful. That was very powerful. Snow Raven is one of our visionaries with the Design Science Studio, and she's shared several of her traditions from the Sakra people of the Arctic Siberia. She is with us in spirit, and she's here with us in personhood in many different ways. We're so grateful to have you, and we honor you and honor your practices. I don't know, is Snow Raven here? Could she speak to?
She is not here today. She's traveling.
Okay.
Oh, wait. The Snow Raven's here. Why did I know she was here? Oh, no, that's just me. I'm labeled myself. I am the spirit of Snow Raven. She's actually going to come and perform in a few days in the opening, which is exciting. But today, she is just visiting us through her pre-recorded video, and all of her love. She is literally flying across the world and wanted to send so much love to the community today and to all of the Earth protectors that are gathered here, who are creatively weaving forward to support so many Indigenous and traditional ecological knowledge preservers and supporters. So she sends her love.
Beautiful. And so we just want to say thank you, Snow Raven. And next up, we have Jeremy Lebman. Jeremy, would love to bring you up on stage. Jeremy is a storyteller and a writer and a teacher and an advisor and so many other beautiful things. He's a meditation guide who supports transformation through both deeply feeling and seeing the reality of what is today. And I'm just so grateful to have you part of the studio and have you as an advisor to the Buckminster Fuller Institute. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Faith. I really appreciate that. And I also really appreciate following Snow Raven. Such a beautiful introduction, lead in. And I'm going to share from this book that I've been working on, but it's so much about coming down from the head into the heart and listening, and also coming into the body and into the soil, which is everything that Snow Raven just expressed and sang and danced so beautifully. So before I read, I'll just say briefly, this is a book that's it sort of came in a vision a couple of years ago. I saw the cover of it and felt that it needed to be written, and it's still in process. It's all outlined and it's about half written. You'll be the first to hear it or to hear part of it. I'm going to read today the author's note that begins the book, and a little later today I'll be reading a couple of chapters from it. And I believe if there's time, I'll do a short meditation as well now, and a longer meditation later this afternoon. So I think I'll just let it speak for itself, and we'll see how the timing plays out. I might answer a few questions if there are any as well. Oh, the last thing I'll say, it's titled Here, How We Rise Together. I don't know if that's going to be the final title. I feel sort of like, you know, with an unborn child, you might have a sense of a name pre-birth, but until you meet them eye to eye, you might not know for sure what the name is. That's how I feel a bit about this. And the last thing I'll say is just, I invite you to listen from the heart. It really is a book that speaks in some head language, but it's for the heart. So if you just come to the heart place to listen, that's where it's written from. When I first started writing this book about 2.5 years ago, I wasn't sure humanity had good odds for making it as a species. I did not feel this was pessimism or skepticism, but a reasonable assessment of the facts. The rate and recklessness with which we were destroying the planet and jeopardizing our own survival, as well as the survival of so many plants, animals, and ecosystems, seemed to offer very few statistical outcomes for success for our species and others. The structure of modern capitalism and the damage that has occurred as a result of a global economy that places material gain over human health and well-being also seemed like a recipe for ultimate destruction. This was compounded by political polarization and othering, the intentional leveraging of fear of those who seem foreign or different, and that this could only perpetuate endless cycles of intolerance and aggression. It felt like the clock was running out on humanity changing course in time to ensure our collective survival, or perhaps that it had run out already. I wondered where and how could our species even begin to make the scale of change needed, with a sense of urgency required to make it happen quickly enough. And then one day I was struck by a profound intuition. The primary need to change these systemic imbalances was a shift in consciousness. It doesn't matter if we clean the plastic out of the oceans, if we're still dumping plastic into the oceans with disregard. We need to address the root cause. What in us is okay with dumping plastic in the oceans? Only this could change everything. I found some optimism in this recognition. Why? Because shifts in consciousness don't require time. Viewpoints and perspectives of seeing can change in an instant. We've all had singular moments of insight after which we never viewed ourselves or the world in the same way. Of course, implementing new models and releasing old models often does take time, but the shifts in seeing themselves can be instantaneous. I had a sudden sense of a way forward and a newfound sense of possibility. We often speak about the future in terms of technology, but technology is only a tool. Like every tool, its purpose and utility are largely determined by the viewpoint and intentions of the one using it. Better tools will not give us a better future if we don't have the consciousness to use them in constructive ways. This book proposes a different kind of futurism. It describes what I am calling a spiritual futurism, one that emphasizes human consciousness itself as the most important focal point of our shared future. The tools of our technological future will only be as effective as the degree to which they are in service of our best spiritual future. This book is a practical exploration of how we can create a unified spiritual future for humanity. It offers a new narrative for our best collective evolution. The new narrative does not so much ask people to give up their beliefs, but rather to consider that we are unified by the very nature of consciousness. This is the most fundamental and universal truth about humans, hidden in plain sight. We are all expressions of consciousness, perceiving through the experience of diverse forms and bodies, each with a sense of individuality, despite our essential unity. As the great monk Thich Nhat Hanh said, we are part of a web of interbeing in which everything depends on everything else in existence, and to a degree our minds cannot fathom. But the good news is our minds don't need to fathom our essential unity for us to realize it. That is why this book isn't written as a theoretical proposition, but is presented in the form of a guidebook designed to bring about the direct and experiential recognition of what is universal in us. The same recognition that comes to all of the great mystics of every tradition from every part of the world. A critical mass of this recognition among humanity will create a tipping point, a consciousness shift from orienting towards our differences and separateness towards orienting towards what unifies us. To make this shift is to intrinsically change how we relate to each other, the world, and all living things. Now, as this book moves towards completion, we're still navigating the impacts of the global pandemic. And what I felt intuitively to be possible when I started writing this is already proving itself true in the world. In this recent time, we have witnessed the gears of the machine of modern industry grind to a near standstill. We have seen most of the world population stuck at home, all together, all at once. We have seen jobs put on hold, shops and restaurants closed, flights grounded in every major city. And with these changes that have certainly challenged human beings, skies also cleared around the world, pollution diminished drastically, cities with perpetual smog saw sunshine for the first time in recent memory, and the forces of nature began regenerating ecosystems everywhere, and often faster than we anticipated. simply because life always naturally moves towards balance and thriving. Life loves to live. Only human interference has created lasting and existentially threatening imbalances. In the absence of that human interference, nature's resilience was clear to see. To explain how this collective shift in seeing is imminently possible, I will repeatedly show the congruence of awakening on the individual level and on the collective level. Historically, individuals have often been brought to moments of spiritual transcendence in the face of great adversity or even existential threat. The same is happening now at a larger scale around the globe. For the first time in a very long time, thanks to the massive global upheaval of the pandemic, people began looking up from their phone screens. In many houses, family members and friends began to look each other in the eyes again. People found themselves slowing down, noticing the beauty in the natural world, appreciating parks and woods more than ever before. And in so many cases, people began questioning why they've been living such insane lives of stressing and straining and working 15 hours a day, constantly running to the next thing and the next thing. For what? While struggling through quarantines and lockdowns, people became more inclined to examine their priorities. Do we care most about making lots of money, no matter the cost? Or do we get true nourishment from connecting with other humans in meaningful ways, from hugs and dancing and eye contact, from slowing down and breathing deeply and taking time to watch birds? Is it possible that our greatest happiness actually arises when we simply make space to be what we are and feel grateful for what we've got, instead of ceaselessly doing, and striving? Perhaps most importantly, because the pandemic impacted the entire world, there's a clear reminder that we are all in this together, sailing through space on the same rare green and blue rock that has made all biological life possible. What I felt instinctually in late 2019 when I started this book has already begun to prove itself out in reality since. A shift in consciousness is happening, and it didn't require time. It only required a massive pattern interrupt that created enough space for humans to question how they've been living and whether it serves what we really want, to ask what is worthy of our attention and what it might take for our species to survive and evolve. We must not let this opportunity slip away. If our lives begin to normalize, we must not stop asking these questions. This book offers an urgent and a hopeful vision for the spiritual future of humanity, one where we are united beyond old and limited ideas of how we are different, of what sets us apart based on the nation we were born in, the color of our skin, how much money we have in the bank, or what religion we were born into. This vision is based on how we are essentially the same, and not just the same, but ultimately one, and how we can simply and practically come to recognize that unity and bend the arc of human consciousness towards our best potential future. Just as with the spiritual awakening of an individual, there will be moments of backsliding and forgetting. There will be those who resist and deny. It will not be an instant utopia. It will still be a bumpy ride. But that's okay. This is how consciousness evolves. This is how consciousness awakens. It spirals such that even movements that appear like retrograde or regression exist within a greater upward trend. My hope is that by reading this book, you will see and know within your heart that a new era is possible for humanity right now. And it starts with you and in you. So that's the author's note.
Wow.
Thank you for listening.
Wow, Jeremy, that was really powerful. Can you mute there? Okay. That was really powerful. You still have some time. Would you like to read another fragment or talk a little bit about the inception of?
Yeah, I think I would like to do a quick meditation. because that is the essence of the book, is again how to make it a felt knowing rather than a understanding in the head. So I think I'll do a little 5-minute meditation into our universality.
Awesome. And if you can also remind people where will they be able to read the book and just acquire some more of this deep knowledge.
Thank you. Yeah, well, the first thing is that at 1:30 Pacific and 4:30 Eastern today, I'll read a couple of chapters and do a longer meditation, and that'll have a separate link outside of this main room, which I think will just be on the schedule. Right, yes. So, and then we'll see where the book appears, but that's the next phase. But feel free to reach out to me as well if you want to be sure to receive a copy. So if I can just invite everyone to actually close your eyes for some moments. And just feel into your physicality, into the body. And just notice in a very neutral way, free of judgment or evaluation, just notice the places where there's some contraction and where there's space. Notice where there's little micro tensions and holding, and all of the subtle ways that the body attempts to protect itself. And just meet those places of contraction with some attention and tenderness. And this is not a meditation where you have to be anything different than what you are right now. There's no goal to have an empty mind or feel peaceful or make those tensions go away. Instead, it's beginning with just meeting yourself. Without any judgment. And you can extend an invitation to the mind to take a break. And feel into the subtle vibration of the body, that way in which you know, even if your eyes are closed, that there is a physical body here. Just that subtle hum of the nervous system, or perhaps trillions of cells manufacturing energy. Or more poetically, if you imagine the body to be like the string of a stringed instrument that's been plucked, what is the frequency that it's resonating at? And can you simply feel that, hear that, be with that frequency? And then just for the next few minutes, in the interest of touching the universal dimension of your being, I invite you to set down all that is not original to you, just for a few minutes. So, setting down thinking and words, setting down name and history. And setting aside past and future. Just allowing anything that's other than this to drain out. Just empty out the contents. The senses effortlessly receive sense information, and there is awareness of these movements of the senses. And simply rest in and as that awareness space. The same awareness space that was present when you were only days old, before you had words or language. And in a moment, when you open your eyes, just notice if it's possible to maintain some connection to and awareness of that spacious dimension of your being that exists and existed prior to conditioning and conditions. And I don't want to go over on time, so I'll leave you there. But again, please feel free to join me in a couple of hours to hear a few more chapters and to take a deeper dive into a very pure and clean sense of beingness. And thank you all so much, and thank you to BFI and the Design Science Studio for potentiating all of this consciousness shifting.
Thank you, Jeremy, for your soothing voice and more than anything for your words. It makes me always it makes my heart glow when I see people understanding what is needed and finding a way to translate it and share it with others. So thanks for that. Very special.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll hear more and more from you. Looking forward to reading that book. And we have, continuing with the soothing voices, we have something really special. It's also a pre-recorded video that is from a person that I feel very dear to my heart. His presence is also very soothing and special, as well as his voice. His name is Benny Oyama. He's also one of our revolutionaries. I've had the pleasure to seeing him sing live, and it's a really, really beautiful experience. Hopefully we'll be able to transmit to you some of that through the interwaves. And yeah, let's just hear his voice. We're gonna have also a little bit of an interlude at the end to transition from another incredible revolutionary, Strupi. But first, let's hear Benny.
Oh, hey, you made it. Oh, great. I'm so happy you found me here in the stupa. We built this place to honor Earth Day 2022, my friend Caro and I, and we're so happy you're here. Isn't it wonderful? You know, while you're here, why don't we sing a song together? Does that sound good? Yeah? Okay. Here, repeat after me. Om, gate gate, para sam gate, bodhisoha. Perfect. You got it. This is a mantra from the Heart Sutra. And actually, it talks about the complete passage from dualistic thinking to non-dualistic thinking. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's very complicated. But you can really see it as taking a boat from a land of illusion and suffering and separation and arriving at another land of peace, unity, and plenitude. Let's try it. Ready? Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Wow, you're doing great. I love singing with you. My teacher, Kempo Samduk Rinpoche, taught me this song in a car late at night on the way home from Chichen Itza, the great Mayan pyramids in the Yucatan. He was spinning his prayer wheel as we traversed the night. Really did feel like kind of a passage. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. When I asked him for what these words meant, he was able to give me a rough translation, something like this. Gone, gone, gone, all the way over. Gone, gone, gone to the other shore. Sing it with me. Gone, gone, gone, all the way over. Gone, gone, gone to the other shore. That's it. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha. Om gate para sam gate bodhisoha.
Beautiful, Stroopy. Two of my favorite spherical interbeings. So happy to be joined today by Stroopy and Stephanie, who are both are evolutionaries and revolutionaries. They share with us the basics of spherical thinking and understanding synergy, making shapes and patterns in the world, and heartwork woven with love. They met last year in the Design Science Studio and have come together to create their own bonds and build their own universe together. And I think constructing their own spherical pattern thinking studio, if I'm not wrong. Stroopy is a synergeticist, a weaver of ideas, words, and structures. He moves music and is a translator of triangles. He understands synergetics more than most people that I know, actually. And Stephanie is a deep seer. Her work stems from the space between art and nature. And she invites us to wonder, play, expand, and explore from her eyes and from the eyes of the seers. Stephanie believes in creativity as our birthright and finds ways to guide and facilitate the process through herself and her interbeing. And she shared a lot with us throughout the last 2 years and has been such a integral human being to the studio and just such an incredible member of our family, actually. So thank you both. Excited to hear what you guys have to share with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go first and then Stroopy's gonna weave with me. I just want to say that I'm Stephanie and this is Stroopy, and we're part of a spiraling upward collective called Fuller Feedback Systems. And and we have a project called Wish You Were Sphere, which has been born in the belly of this design science studio ship. I on board at the moment that I heard about the studio because I have a vast collection of evidence already gathered from the world around me. Fathoms of images and videos and scans and recordings, because every time I walk amongst the rest of nature, I can have experience with it, and it moves me, and I can capture it in any form of expression that I choose, but I've chosen a camera because that lens is one that I've spent time. The play that I see when I look. Also, part of it was from the fact that I spent a lot of time in nature because my eyes couldn't hold steady looking at the books. So it was work to do. And so I spent a lot of time outside and with the other things. And basically, looking at the light bouncing off of things and flying and reflecting all over it, right? But seeing how succulents built their shape to hold the water around them, and the spiders make their webs so they can feel the vibration on the field. Those things awed me, and also like how water is just like 5.5 feet down, and it beads and it holds itself together in a form that right up here we don't really experience in the same way, but it's all here, and how it moves and how it shapes is all the same. And so there's this way in which, I know with Buckminster Fuller, I was drawn to Buckminster Fuller because he experienced the world through nature. And the ways that, I had learned about him in different ways, but, it sort of was like he had an understanding of the way that the rest of nature grew. And from what I've learned about it is it was from more feeling it and seeing it. So he knew that it wasn't the same shape that was being educated with. And so, I have this photo up right here, and I'm just going to share this with you, but this is the space between two soap bubbles. And I keep coming back to it because this is, it to me was, it was how I came to have a conversation with Strupi right on, where we understood that we speak the same language, because we could speak more about this than what I could ever read about. Because some people will look at this, and you can look at it, and if you don't see the other bubble that makes up the colorful field you're looking at, you wouldn't understand that that's the space between two spheres. It's literally the space between two spheres that's created this colorful field. And since we were able to have these conversations about this, and it, what's on his wall behind him and all these things, is that the understanding of the way nature grows. Strupi, as Faith said, he understands synergetics more than any human being that I know as well. And I've been looking for understanding structure. So what we would love you to do right now is, because what happens is, it's like we're growing the spaces between us and the shapes between us. And as we just heard earlier about like resonance and coming into that field of water, like we're made of water, we're made of it. And we forget so many times, and we built the worlds around us so that the sound bounces in ways, and our voices, and we've made a world of warring. That it's really what it's become, right? Is that everything and all the technologies has been grown toward that. And so, Buckminster Fuller did volumes and volumes on living Re, because he saw it, he understood it, and he knew it would take 50 years to get to this future. But this future is this moment. This is now. We can leave off the words future right now and grow from here, or we won't get there. We'll keep trying to go to the next future. But we have everything we need right now. It's just how we put it together that matters, because it's been put together with energy that's heading toward war and cutting off and breaking apart. And we want to bring it back together. And so this space between two spheres, we're just going to have you, if everyone can just take a moment, go grab a pen or anything to write with and anything to write on for a minute, because we want to have you draw for a moment. And so we can show you some space between and the relationships between, because if we keep, I've had people say, why isn't your work in the world and all over the place? It's because it's not understood yet. And the technologies aren't here yet, but we can shape them, and we're making them to really get dimensional here, because we've been flat. We've been seeing flat and understanding flat, and the dimension of these shapes we grow with, and they grow with us, and we will build new worlds around us with them, because the solutions are all here. So if you can get something to write on, and Strupi, I think you were gonna show the drawing too, but we're just gonna draw. I'm gonna hand it to you, Strupi, to explain how to draw it well, so that everyone is here with it.
All right. So, hello to all you beautiful humanimal beings in the house. What we want to draw with you is just two spheres, but since we can't draw the whole sphere right now, let's go with a circle first. So you just pick whatever you have to draw with and to draw on, and you just draw a circle, and it doesn't need to be perfect. There is nothing perfect in the universe. It's everybody has their little, nooks and crannies and their little weird personal flavors. If you don't feel comfortable with the first round, just go a couple of rounds and it will round itself out a little. But as you do that, beware that you're drawing on a body of paper or whatever you got, and beware that you're drawing a full sphere spread out on that paper. And now that you have the first one, just go ahead and draw a second one, which starts from the center point of your first one, and is basically about the same size. And now you've just drawn an image of what your eyes see, because every eye sees a whole sphere, and they do overlap. And this overlap, that is where the magic happens. That is where synergy comes into play, because you connect these two hearts of both spheres with the first line and draw in the connections to where they intersect And what you see before you is a pair of eyes, which is the unfolding of space-time itself. It is just like this, two of these left angles. And we will later on have a longer conversation on what this is all about and how you can make head and tails of it, how you can wrap your mind around the things once you take them out of the paper. Because there is a lot to be told. There is a lot to unfold. And it's a lot to behold, because this play of forms and shapes and structures is what we are in our innermost self, which is integral with the universe. There is no separation, none whatsoever. Our skin is a membrane. It's binding our inside to our outside. And I will gladly share with you later on the story of the spheres, which centers around this, around the mother of all spheres. And the mother of all spheres can tell us everything we need to know about how to make the transformation happen, sphere and now, not in a future long out, far out, but here and now. And if we listen carefully, if we hear now to what she has got to tell us, she's gonna show us how easy it is to give birth to a new understanding, a new sense of self, as Jeremy was speaking of so beautifully. This new sense of self, just like a seed of a flower, may take off and go fly to another soul, another soil to take root in, leaving us with that membrane that reminds us of the fluid intertransforming that is the dance of the Tao, which holds in its own embrace all we need to know about the structures of space-time. And mind you, this is neither space nor time. None of those things exist on their own. None of them are static nor linear. They are spherical. And as they are spherical, they are alive, breathing, and whole. We are whole just in our identity with the universe. And anybody who's telling us that we're any less than that, they're, whatever they believe in, they have not understood who they are. So, Stephanie, I pass it back to you. And I would like to show you this again and hope everyone has drawn their own.
I also want to say and remind that this is a collective, and I've said how much Strupi knows about synergetics. I want to weave in that there's others in our studio like Melody who knows so much about synergetics to bring in. And I want to share that, and others, like there's so many of you. So when we say that, like it's not, that's another thing that I find, is that we live in such a hierarchical system that we put what would be points and we put them and we face them and we say these are the top and these are the best, and it's and that to me in my own doing just now also closed things. And so to reopen them, to say that this is, we are all, as we are explorers or hexplorers now, because we're not trying to conquer, we're trying to expand, and we're trying to expand the shape of things. And each one of us has some beautiful way to add to this, who studied something and followed there, because focus is everything. When we focus on things, then we bring them into materialization of what it is. And so each of us has this gift that we come here with, that we're stacking like water on top of each other. And so, that when I said that understanding is that knowing that the conversations we can expand upon are so vast. And so you know, I learned from a book about Buckminster Fuller by Patricia Ravasio, who's here. She's going to be speaking at 12:30 and share about cosmic fishing with us. But she taught me why we're here where we are and how what Bucky shared was shut down. And we know that what Tesla shared was shut down. And rays of light, our beams, we could be beaming beautiful things, but we can be beaming the terrors that we've seen and been through. And that all shapes the water. So what we beam comes from our hearts and is felt regardless of if they're on or if they're off. And so, like, I'm pulling us back into the heart of it, to the heart of it, so we can come back. And so the story of the spheres will be after Patricia speaking, because we got here a certain way. It was shut down. And Bucky actually looked at her, he pointed to her, and he said, it's going to be you kids who are going to bring this back. It's going to be the girls who are going to bring it back, because we've shut off the mother. You know, we've looked at the world, and, you know, Bucky didn't get it all right. He got a lot of it right. And we are where we are if we think, he said, let's make a world for 100% man. So, like, that was back then. So we are re-shifting it and re-bringing in mother and woman and all of us back in, because we're in the species of humanimals where everything, you know, we're man and women. And then, like, we don't even have to talk about the sexes, because we're all everything in between, but we've cut ourselves into tiny little pieces in boxes, and we're pulling it all back. And so Bucky knew, and he looked her in the eye. And this is the thing with technology, folks. There's not a single technology where we can look eye to eye except being in each other's presence, because it doesn't allow for that yet. We need that. When we see somebody look us in the eye from a field of people, you feel it. We feel each other. So I'm just we're offering all these things. We'll put them in the link, and I'll also be sharing my work and bringing that in, and we'll also be spinning with Melody, and I hope Stephen too, and lots of different other folks, where we'll share shapes on Saturday. So there's a lot of different ways we're weaving, and we're trying to bridge right now, and also create wisdoms for all this information, with people drawing all the information, getting it back into education where it belongs, because we need to feed. We need to be the ground cover that feeds the rest with all of this. And we have volumes and volumes and volumes on the things we can create once we have the information, and it goes right into the streams. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Shruti and Stephanie. Wow, here's to our growing spherical connections around the world and weavings. Thank you so much. I love circles, I admit. So it was nice to both draw, and I love when our circles intersect. How beautiful that is, and that is what regenerating and Design Science Studio is about. So thank you both so much. And with that, I want to continue from these two beautiful human beings to another wonderful artist who I have also had the pleasure to meet in 3D, 4D, IRL, which seems to be such a privilege in these days. And I want to invite Irena. Is Irena here with us?
I'm not sure if Irena's going to come on screen, but she's here. Irena, would you be open to saying hello?
I can say hello.
Yay!
I want to show off my circle that I just drew.
Great. So we hear her, and she is wonderful. Hey,
Shruti
Irena.
and Steph circles. How are you?
Welcome. So everyone, Irena is a new media artist from New York City with nature intelligence, panpsychism, I love it, and technology. She offers a digital exploration of the essences just beyond perception. And in that description itself, Irena is a poet as well. So welcome, Irena. Please, the floor is yours.
Oh, you're going to play the video. And I guess I came across this quote 30 years ago when I was working with the Wildlife Conservation Society, and the quote never left my mind. And I just, I'm so appreciative of the studio to give me the opportunity to present it today and voice and put it visually to words, put the words to a visual that I've seen in my mind's eye for a really long time. That's it. Enjoy.
Thank you. So excited for everyone to see this. It brought me to tears when I saw it. And so thank you for creating this in homage also on Earth Day, Irena. I'm really excited to showcase it.
A work of art may be recreated. Its beauty and genius reconceived. Even if its first material expression is destroyed. A vanished harmony may yet again inspire its composer. But when the last individual of a race of living beings breathes no more, another heaven and earth must pass before such a one can be again.
I feel like it deserves a moment of silence. It's so beautiful.
Wow, that was sensational. Irena, it is magical realism, real magic, and all that surrounds it. I loved how visuals and your voice and it all came together. Would you share with us like how this weaving, speaking of spheres, how did it come together from the threads of imagination to manifesting in this absolutely not breathtaking, I don't like to take breaths away, breath-giving, life-giving way? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess my work, I try to create meditations in a way. And I also just try to create moments of just taking moments of appreciation. And like the quote, like William Beebe said, I mean, he said this back at the turn of the 20th century, and people were feeling the same feelings we're having now then, and people are appreciating the same things we appreciate then. And now here we are 100 years later or so, and it's just on the precipice, and we just want to take a moment to really appreciate the things that we have and what we share the earth with, and pay attention to that. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and also for letting us see us seeing you.
So, I straightened up.
It's beautiful. More than wow.
Just in case.
It's gorgeous. Thank you so much. And with that, as we wait and await our beautiful next speaker, it is time for a regenerative poetry pause, everyone. So thank you for continuing to share your presence with us in ways that that resonate, whether you are on video, not on video, audio, listening, walking, dancing, running, meditating. Thank you for being here with us. I want to share this poem with everyone because I feel it really speaks to what is really I feel for me has been a revelation, a deeper revelation of the pandemic. I wrote this poem in the early part of the pandemic because my very, very good friend, she asked me, what does making art mean? What does making art mean? So many of us are artists here. And what does making art mean in a pandemic? So here is regenerative poetry pause. It is called Sobia's poem, Our Bread and Revolution. While in the midst of horror, we fed on beauty, and that, my love, is what sustained us. Transit by Rita Dove. What does making art in the midst of a pandemic mean? Sobia, during the peak of COVID-19 first wave in April 2020. It means a return to beauty, despite fears, frailties, oh, so many, many, many foxes. It means we shall not be stopped by Zoom bombings, invisible inks, and a million paradoxes. It means a prayer, a spell, a witchery, a pagan insistence, a vixen rebellion. It means reclaiming from the jaws of horror, anguish, shock, beauty. Beauty, which when all this is over, is what shall remain on the sidewalks made of grief, tears, rage of these viral indoor ages on the craters of our brown bodies, spirits and black holes beyond all the counted, uncounted pages in the universe. Oh, so let us take the paint brushes, the black, white, yellow photographs, the rice bags of our ancestors' memories, the songs of our love, longing, and belonging. Return, return, return. Let us return to beauty, even it have face of ugly truths. Let us return to beauty, our bread and our revolution. Let us return to beauty. Inqilab zinda hai, inqilab zinda hai, inqilab zinda hai. The revolution is alive. The revolution is alive. The revolution is alive, my friends. Thank you for receiving. Thank you for being in this beautiful revolution together. And I invite you to take a deep breath with me as we continue our beautiful train journey. And with that revolutionary pause, I am so delighted now to honor another revolutionary artist, John Crawford. John is here with us. Can we have John on the screen? Wonderful. Welcome, John. So nice to see you with us. Wow, wonderful. So everyone, John, I also had the privilege to hear from and learn from recently in the Design Science Studio, is, I would say, an amazing elder, an intermedia artist, performance director, and systems designer, engaging directly with the emerging technologies of our time. His work creates rich, immersive environments and compelling interactive experiences through embodied interaction. His projects are performed in theaters, exhibited in galleries, and presented as interactive installations featuring creative explorations of environmentalism, climate justice, and community engagement. His work investigates how the human desire to transform our environment is unleashing destructive forces that endanger the world and everything in it, including ourselves. He's a professor of intermedia arts at University of California, Irvine, where he founded and directs the Embodied Media Research Group, featuring a range of projects, courses, and collaborations that integrate socially engaged art making and connected design thinking with emergent media production. He's the co-founder of Eco Art Lab, which I love, and Eco Design Lab, two nonprofit organizations employing art and design to respond to the escalating crisis driven by the rapidly evolving human capacity to alter our planetary ecosystems. I will drop a link where you can learn more about John's work. And I'd say, as a media and entertainment entrepreneur, John supports deployment of state-of-the-art technology to streamline and diversify the development and presentation of new shows. Before becoming a filmmaker, he had a 35-year career as a chemical engineer and senior business leader with major energy-related companies of the world, including Arco, BP, and Worley Parsons. In Hollywood, let's see. Do I have...
You're introducing my collaborator, Ivan, at the same time, which is great. So, I'm the intermediate artist. He's the entrepreneur and former chemical engineer. So
we become each other.
That's for sure. That is for sure.
John collaborates with Ivan, who is also phenomenal. So here's to growing ripples. And I want to honor, John, your presence. And also I wanted to honor the length and breadth of your life experiences in their wholeness. We deeply appreciate you being present with us and sharing with us. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, Neha. And thank you so much to the entire Design Science Studio constellation of pebbles and ripples that are joining all of us across the distance today and all of the time of Regenera. I'm honored to be here, and I'm going to play a short video that I think will give you a much more in-depth look at some of the areas that were mentioned earlier, and then I'll be back to briefly address any questions or information that gets posted in the chat. So feel free to post in the chat while this is playing, and I'll be back with you in just a few minutes. My apologies. I messed up the share, so just give me 1 second here.
That was a beautiful preview, though.
Try it again here, but it's not cooperating. 1 second. Okay, here we go.
Eco Art Lab creates performances and exhibitions that enhance ecological awareness, engaging with new forms of expression enabled by the emerging media technologies of our time. Our work aims to do more than just entertain people or create beauty for its own sake. We want to do these things, but with a focus on relevant impact for social good. Our vision is to support synergistic groups of artists and designers who are concerned with environmental issues. Inspired by Earth's natural beauty, including the aesthetics of human involvement, we have a passionate desire to respond to the escalating crisis driven by the rapidly evolving human capacity to alter planetary ecosystems. Eco Art Lab embraces multidimensional approaches to a systems view of life in which humans are part of a larger living whole. We're committed to the use of advanced digital technologies for artistic creation, but we combine that with a strong grounding in traditional approaches to film, theater, dance, music, media, and design, and we have many years of experience in artistic projects that integrate all these areas. Still, we acknowledge how lack of attention to crucial values, combined with unquestioning acceptance of rational thought, can create unhealthy dependence on ill-considered technological solutions. We are committed to supporting climate justice through creative frameworks that encompass diverse cultural perspectives. We recognize that environmentalism is not a new movement. Environmental activism has played a central role in the cultures of indigenous peoples for thousands of years. Our heartfelt objective is to honor and respond to diverse voices from different communities, nourished and enabled by individual and collective commitment to creation, performance, and exhibition. Our partnerships with several other organizations help extend our reach and amplify our message. We have a close relationship with the Embodied Media Research Group at University of California, Irvine, whose vision is to connect people through applied cultural research in media, art, and design, producing tangible outcomes that incorporate creative exhibition and performance. We share a commitment to socially engaged art, connected design, and emergent technology exploration. Let's hear a little bit more about those three areas. In socially engaged art making, we are driven by the desire for art to make a difference in people's lives. In collaboration with communities, we make work that responds to environmental, cultural, and political issues directly relevant to people in these communities. Traditional approaches to design thinking tend to rely on ideation and iteration. To that, we add a focus on empathy and intuition, influenced by
I'm restarting the share just because there were some problems with the screen. I'll make sure you don't miss anything.
Thank you.
Still seems to be messing up on the corner, and I'm not sure why. Anybody has any ideas? I would love to hear about it.
The only thing that I could say maybe is whenever you do the screen share, make sure to select the actual program instead of the desktop.
Okay, well, I'll try that one more time. And if not, I think we'll just have to continue.
Yeah, it wasn't really disruptive. It was okay.
Okay, so we'll try one more time here. Seems to flash and then bring that black border again. So my apologies, but I think we'll have to continue as is.
Let's hear a little bit more about those three areas. In socially engaged art making, we are driven by the desire for art to make a difference in people's lives. In collaboration with communities, we make work that responds to environmental, cultural, and political issues directly relevant to people in these communities. Traditional approaches to design thinking tend to rely on ideation and iteration. To that, we add a focus on empathy and intuition, influenced by artistic practice, dedicated to guiding transdisciplinary research and development toward creative solutions based on lived experience and actual needs. In addition to being artists and designers, we are technology developers. Our work explores new forms of expression enabled by emerging technical capabilities, including machine intelligence, kinetic media of all kinds, interactive software systems, and evolving forms of social media connectivity. Let's take a look at some projects that explore and manifest these ideas. There's a lot more information on all these projects available online, and stay tuned to the end of this presentation. We'll give you some links and references. After this session, we want to invite you to join us for 2 more sessions coming up. There's one later today and another on Sunday, 2 different projects. And in these sessions, we'll take a deeper dive into the projects I'll be telling you a little bit about now. One of his most frequently produced plays, William Shakespeare's mystical masterwork, The Tempest, has spawned numerous adaptations and derivative works, including operas, films, novels, and visual art. Presented in 2018, Living in the Tempest was a series of experimental intermedia performance projects produced in California and Italy. These were developed in collaboration with a transdisciplinary international group of artists, scholars, and students. We used fragments from The Tempest, along with other sources, as inspiration to reflect on relationships between humans and oceans. We presented Prospero as a wizard of contemporary technology who develops advanced technical systems. These are portrayed as magic in Shakespeare's text, which are intended to improve the natural environment in various ways. While Prospero's intentions might be good, these improvements inevitably bring with them some unexpected and unwelcome outcomes. Our concept for Living in the Tempest takes note of the developing planetary crisis driven by the rapidly evolving human capacity to alter ocean systems. For us, The Tempest is a framework that we use to examine aspects of the human-ocean relationship, demonstrating and illuminating ways in which the human desire to transform our environment is unleashing destructive forces that endanger the world and everything in it, including ourselves. Eco Art Lab is continuing the oceans theme with a project called Your Ocean, My Ocean. We call it YOMO. We originally presented YOMO as an intermedia performance at University of California, Irvine, and also at Brown University in 2019. We're currently working on a new iteration, which will be a fully online interactive experience. The oceans, of course, cover the majority of the planet's surface and are a primary line of defense against the effects of anthropogenic climate change. If carefully managed, our ocean's wild fisheries offer an essential resource for feeding Earth's continually growing population. But the oceans face potentially catastrophic threats due to human activity, including the effects of pollution, marine debris, hypoxia, destructive fishing practices, rising sea surface temperatures, and acidification. Our growing understanding of this developing crisis and our responses to it are the primary drivers behind the development of Your Ocean, My Ocean. I want to bring in Eco Art Lab founder Ivan Williams. He has some thoughts on the YOMO performances that were staged at UCI and Brown University.
The journey in my co-founding the Eco Art Lab nonprofit collective with Professor John Crawford and really began in Providence, Rhode Island several years ago. It is there that I saw the Your Ocean, My Ocean performance that had combined dancers, music, as well as projection art in a way that really represented the beauty of oceans and coastlines and the detrimental human impacts on ocean ecosystems, including the habitat destruction, overfishing, and pollution. But YOMO, Your Ocean, My Ocean, really was this amazing multifaceted experimental production that combined dance sequences with music, sound, multi-channel video, and imagery. There was dancers live on stage and dancers projected. There was string musicians on stage, interwoven with electronic music generated in real time by interactive computer systems that were influenced by motion sensors worn by musicians and dancers. It was an amazing combination of technology and live body movement that created this overwhelming power and message of what we're doing to our oceans and what we should really be treating them as. I was so moved that really that inspired me to think in ways that I'd never thought of before, but more importantly, think in ways of how this type of combination of technology-enabled performance can really move our society. So with that in mind, and in absolute lockstep with what John Crawford stated, the goal of Your Ocean, My Ocean was to create something that speaks both to the extraordinary beauty of the oceans and coastlines and their tragic vulnerability. And for me, Your Ocean, My Ocean just knocked it out of the park.
Here's another project from Eco Art Lab that explores another aspect of the climate crisis. From the ice sheets of Antarctica and Greenland to the glaciers of the Rockies, Alps, and Pyrenees, our cryosphere is shrinking, with devastating effects on the planet. Cryosphere Crisis is a new interactive film project dealing with the environmental and social impacts of this crisis. Our first iteration of the film is being produced in the mountain country of Montana in collaboration with indigenous artists from the Blackfeet, Salish, and Kootenai tribes of that area. Please join us later today for a live studio session featuring some of these artists. And stay tuned to the end of this presentation for details on how to join us. Leave a Trace is a new online participatory artwork launching on May 15th at 9:14 p.m. Pacific Time in conjunction with a total lunar eclipse of the full flower moon. The first version of this project is being sponsored by University of California, Irvine, and is emerging at a time when many students are interested in creating mementos of their time at the university. The objective of the project is to empower people to leave a trace of their presence on campus by using their mobile devices to capture a short video or still image of their personal engagement with one or more specific locations on the UCI campus. An online portal accepts videos and images uploaded by students and other participants, transforming the submissions into a series of ever-changing video artworks with characteristics responding to the locations. Part of the NABLA Performance Festivals coming up on May 23rd in New York City and on October 8th in Rome, Italy, In the Liminal Space is a series of live intermedia performances and films that explore notions of coastline as a liminal zone, continually in flux between land and sea, a meeting place marked by the dreams of humans and erased by the power of the ocean. Emerging in the pandemic from an international group of acclaimed creators through remote collaboration and inspired by seen and unseen forces, these short works collectively respond to the complexities and contrasts of the coastal interface through dance, music, and digital media. Please tune in on Sunday for an exclusive preview of In the Liminal Space. We'll be showing excerpts from several of the films being presented in the festivals in New York and Rome. We'll have some of the creators on hand to discuss the films, share insights into their creative process, and answer your questions. We hope you'll join us.
So I'm happy to respond to any questions or comments in the chat. I appreciate all the kind words. And our studio session coming to you from Montana will be this afternoon in the Vision Train. Is that still at 2 o'clock today, folks?
It is. Hi, John.
Great. Okay. Well, that sounds good. And Roxy has posted the link to that session in the chat. And we'll be also providing the links to tomorrow's session with the creators of In the Liminal Space. So It's been wonderful to be here. Great to be part of the Vision Train, and super excited to see everything that everyone is accomplishing. And we'll look forward to seeing you all this afternoon.
Thank you, John. I just wanted to take a moment to just acknowledge the amazing work that you're doing and how far this project has come in just a year. I know that your collaborations have obviously been lifelong. And pause for a second, sorry. The amount of creativity that you all have been able to cultivate towards these incredibly critical subjects is deeply inspiring, and we're so thrilled that we get to be able to kind of connect the dots while you're in Montana working with these different performers and Indigenous voices, and taking a stand on Earth Day, the day that we are, devoted to around the world, coming back into connection with our planet home, and seeing how we can be in better service as artists and creators. And so it's going to be such a delight to be able to have that session here in the main train station of Regina, the Design Science Studio on the Vision Train. And I've just opened a breakout room in case anyone wants to jump in with you to learn more about Eco Art Lab and some of these other initiatives. Is there anything that you particularly need right now, or would love to connect more with people about?
Great question, and sure, I'm happy to join the breakout room. I value so much the broad range of backgrounds and interests coming from the participants in Design Science Studio. And what I would like to offer is for anyone who wants to learn more about what we're doing, perhaps connect on future projects. I'd love to hear from you, and you have our contact info. So I'm just really thrilled to be part of this event. I'll join the breakout room, and if there's any questions, we can deal with them more then. Thanks, Roxy and everyone.
Thank you, John. Definitely recommend for you all to spend as much time with John Crawford as possible. He's a dear collaborator now, as Neha mentioned, visionary of the studio, educator, and we created an amazing program last year together. If many of you who are here actually participated in it, which was very connected to the same mission. It was the Living Systems Art and Design Collaboratory. And just wanted to do a shout out. Thank you for creating so much value in so many different ways, both educationally and also with your insights as an artist for this community for so long. And we're so honored to be weaving with you. So pop in the room with John. If you didn't see the link I put in the chat, open it up. We can put it in again. It's really wonderful. It shows the session, the title, all the different presenters, and it'll be back in here in 2 hours. So thank you, John. Bye. Awesome. Okay, and I have, by the way, hello everyone. I'm Roxy. I am the director and architect of the Design Science Studio, and I am honored to be with you all on Earth Day. Last year, we did this amazing celebration of Regina Rising about a month earlier. And when we realized that it would potentially be really special to move the date so that we could align with this 11-day summit around the celebration globally and acknowledgement of our beautiful living planet, we decided it was a great idea. So this is the first time we've had the opportunity to do so. And we're thrilled to be spending this very special day with you and highlighting all of these amazing interdisciplinary artists, designers, and creators from all around the world. And I have the distinct pleasure of introducing another one of the revolutionary artists from the Design Science Studio, who has played a critical role as an amazing systems architect who really believes in interoperability and in systems, flexible, resilient systems as an artist, who is going to pop up here and begin our orientation. So we're going to do an orientation every day to how to get around this big crazy ship. So this is the first one. And just so you know, we've just completed our what we call the PLANetARY Salons. This moment when we're all together. And then today is the first time we'll get to do the Choose Your Own Adventure. So there's a few different options. So I'm going to first hand it over to Vincent Arena from Catalyst Commons, Trove, Categora. We're in a transitional space of names, but who has made it possible for us to navigate complexity with ease, and really amplify so many of the artists and creators in the studio through the platform that we're orienting around. So hopefully you can share a little bit about your background, Vincent. I'm going to give you the stage for a few minutes to just have the floor, also talk about what you care about, and then I'll pop back up and help orient for the day.
Awesome. Thank you, Roxy.
Thank you, Vincent.
Hi, everyone. Happy Earth Day. Wearing my World Peace t-shirt. Like Bucky, I would like to dedicate my life towards the planet, but in a way that is a little bit untraditional. I think the environment and the climate is very much an information problem. And so as an information architect, my mission is to catalyze action and help people connect with the opportunities, projects, people, and information to be able to learn and act together in order to solve important problems like the climate. I'm the founder of Catalyst Collective, and we are creating an ecosystem of tools that works together in order to engage that mission in helping organizations and individual change makers connect and collaborate across different sectors of society, like the ones behind me here, and also across groups. So how can we have transdisciplinary collaboration? We have to be able to have maps where we can see the big picture and we could see who else is doing what and where we fit and what are the different perspectives and worldviews. And so my work in creating the co-creating the event platform for today is part of that mission in helping all of you learn more about the revolutionaries in the Design Science Studio and be able to find their work, connect. And so I'd like to give a brief overview of the event page and just orient you guys to how to navigate and how to find all the amazing opportunities throughout the week. And then after that, I'll pass it to Roxy to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive into the schedule. So I'm sure you guys have seen this event page, but if not, someone will post this link in the chat. So this is our main page for the 11-day event, Regen Era Rising. And there's a few buttons here at the top. So if you haven't, you can add it to your calendar. There's also a button to replay. We already have the video uploaded from yesterday in case you missed it. If you really just want to dive right in, you get here, you can click join event. This will take you to the main Zoom room. The best way to navigate, well, there's two ways. You can either scroll, or if you look at the top, there's this purple tab bar. You can click through these tabs here to navigate to the particular section that you're looking for. So if you wanted to find out about the sponsors or partners, if you wanted to view the video repository, the agenda, if you want to see all of the incredible artists that are being featured with links to view their work and figure out how to contact them, or if you'd like to see where everyone is checking in from, we have a check-in map where if you haven't already, you can answer the question, what does a world that works for 100% of life feel like to you? And you can scroll through and click these different answers and see where people are checking in from. Enlightening, liberating, creative, or you can actually navigate on the map. And if you click on someone's pin, it'll show you their answer. In terms of the agenda, this is probably going to be the most important tool to help navigate and also find out what's happening this week. And so I'm going to go into that. So by default, the event page will show only the future events that are upcoming. But if you'd like to look at the events that happened in the past, you can uncheck that and then you can see the events. This was the opening session from yesterday. There are different views here on the top right corner, and these different views are really helpful depending on what your intention is. If you're just looking to explore, this gallery view has a really beautiful way to see the different previews of each experience with an image, the topics that they'll be talking about, as well as the description and the time. The long card view is similar, except a little bit more condensed in case you want to get a quicker view. The list view is great because this is showing you everything happening from now moving forward in chronological order. And it's a great way to get a big picture view of like the whole day. You can also toggle between the day view and the week view, depending on if you're having information overload, then you're going to want to apply filters to narrow down the information. And that's one of the really important things that we've been trying to work on in collaboration with the studio, is how do we show you guys all these incredible opportunities, but also in a way that is as not overwhelming, because there's so much going on. So the calendar view, this lets you see the whole week at a big picture. You can also just see the events from today or the events happening tomorrow, and this is going to be updated constantly throughout the week. The last one is the timeline view. So this one actually has like by 10-minute increments. This is if you want a really detailed overview of what's happening. And this will also show events that are overlapping. So we're going to have some create your own adventure, create your own path, where there'll be multiple things happening at once. And so this is going to be a helpful view to be able to choose which events you'd like to go to, and then how to find your way back into the main room. So if you see only one event happening, that means that the day has kind of come to a bit of a close, and then there's one room that everyone is gathering in again. The last thing I'll talk about is the filters. So if you were looking for something super specific, for example, the nature initiative, you can type in the search box and it'll come up with what you're looking for. So if you knew someone's event title or their name, you could type it in here. If you're looking to just explore and you are interested in, let's say, architecture, you can filter by one or more topics. So let's say you're into architecture, crypto, and breathwork. This would show you, and then you wanted to see today. These filters go across all the different views, and you could explore events that match exactly what you're looking for. To remove these, you just have to click the little X to uncheck them. We'll also be going more into this week the different worlds besides Zoom that I'm sure you guys have heard about. So there's Topia, which is a 3D immersive experience. There's Mora and New York City, which is another like augmented reality 3D where you can explore. And so these filters will be helpful if we're like, okay, we're gonna do a Topia session. You can see all the things that are happening in Topia. And the session types will show the type of experience. So if you're kind of looking to just chill out and hear a performance, or if you want to dive in deep with some of the artists into a workshop, you can filter by the type of experience as well. The last thing is you can also sort. So you can sort by the title or by the start time, and you could see the ones that are coming up first or coming up last by clicking this toggle. So the other main feature of the event page is any of these things, any of these experiences can be clicked, and you'll get a preview of what's happening. And I'll navigate a little bit through to some of these pages so you can see how everything is all interconnected. So this is Cosmic Surfing. That's happening at 3:30. So this is going to be one of the next events that comes up in about 15 minutes. So if you're interested in this, you can click join, which will take you right to the link for that session. You can also see the related participants that are involved in this experience. And if you click to view participant, it'll take you to their participant page. If there was someone who you're like, wow, I was amazed by their talk, how can I reach out to them? You can find either their experience or their participant page, and they should have a contact information or a call to action on how you can get involved in their work. So for example, here's Stephanie's link tree and the related experiences that she's going to be presenting throughout the entire week. This is John's session that he spoke about. That's coming up at 5. And so each experience also has their own page. So if you were interested in an experience, you would just go to the presentation page, and then it would also show you the link to join. You can share this with your friends. If you're, hey, there's something coming up next week I think you would like, and they can use this button here to buy a ticket. And they can also, see all the different people that are being featured. I think that is, I'm done with my overview of the event page. If anyone have any questions, put them in the chat, put them in our help desk and Discord, and I'll pass it over to Roxy to kind of go deeper into the schedule for the rest of today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for making that a smooth process. We would love to continue to improve the experience. This is an 11-day summit after all, and we're only in day 2. Vincent, I wonder, is the help desk the best place, you think, for people to pop over and let us know if they're having a hard time getting around or have some insights to share?
Yeah, the help desk, or I'll also put my email in the chat in case anyone wants to reach out to me directly. Anything else, Roxy?
No, I think that's good. I think that's a good kind of way to capture it. If you feel good about fielding anything direct that's about Catalyst, then the help desk can also be a good other way to move around. Well, you already kind of went through a bunch of awesome things that are happening, but I will still show the overview and kind of talk through each one. And then we will set you off into the world. As Vincent mentioned, and thank you, Vincent. As Vincent mentioned, that we have a session that just started. And so that session is with Stephanie and Struppy, who were up here just a few minutes ago. I will screen share so y'all can see the, for some reason my screen is being a bit funny, but yeah, I want to just kind of talk through each one. I know a little bit of information about what's coming up, so I thought it might be helpful to go with a little ease. One thing, as Vincent mentioned, these things are still being updated live. So we have details up for the next 5 hours. And then for the sessions that are from 5 to about 10:30, you'll see more information continuing to populate throughout the day. So as you can see happening right now, we are still in our Earth Day celebration. If there was something that you, oops, that's weird. If there was something that you saw and that you wanted to potentially see more of, then what I would recommend is actually going back in today's big session, and you can explore their work a little better. I know what happened. I accidentally clicked the join now and it tried to take me out of Zoom. So at the top of the page here, happening now, you're like, wait, what was going on earlier? So you can see in kind of chronological order, we had an amazing poem from Neha. It was honoring a poet laureate, Snow Raven. So if you saw Snow Raven's work and you wanted to potentially learn more about her, that's a kind of a good way to go back. So there's also this interesting feature here that says show only future. So if there was something in the past that you wanted to see, we are going to be uploading more of the past videos and things. And so you can kind of go back if you uncheck that, and you can also kind of click on the session. So for example, here, we had this segment that featured Jeremy, and he's actually doing another session later. And so one thing that I think we have set up, but maybe we need to toggle back on, is that you can also see the participant that's connected to that session. I think I just need to click on open presentation page. Is that true, Vincent? Am I doing that right?
Yeah, some of the events aren't completely up to date yet. So as the week goes on, everything will all be kind of linked up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so looking into the future, we just kicked off in the session that Stephanie is about to have with this amazing author, Patricia, who wrote The Girl from Spaceship Earth. So if you love Bucky and you want to know more about cosmic surfing, definitely recommend, oh, here we go, bam. This is what I was trying to do. Recommend checking out the page, learning more about this critically acclaimed author. This is a good place. You can read about the book, about climate change and the future of humanity and Bucky. So this is a really rad, and you can see kind of different people and how they're connected across the event, which is pretty beautiful. So I'm going to just go back to the main page and show you all some other things that are going on. And we can pop the link back in the chat again in case we've lost it somehow. So other things we have. In about an hour and 10 minutes, we'll have the book reading and meditation. This is with Jeremy, who shared a shorter segment earlier. And definitely want to recommend that you all go and hear more about the book. He'll be doing a bit more reading, longer meditation, and connecting to a possibility of a new futurism. What could a spiritual future look like, and how can we step into it in a practical and non-dogmatic way? So that'll happen at 1:30. If you want to, alternatively, in the vision train at 1:30, for half an hour, we'll be having a healing immersion with breath, meditation, and sound bath. This is a collaboration of two of the artists of the Design Science Studio, Julian Ramirez and Deanna Rice. And so this will be a live immersive experience using coherent breathing, which is a medical breath work featured in the New York Times. And this will bring the feeling of space. I think this is also, really helpful. We're thinking, feeling kind of all across the edges of reality and creativity and the future of our planet and our species and all life. And it's important to have spaces to integrate. So this is going to be a really beautiful immersion space for integration. Right after that, John Crawford and crew will go deep into the Cryosphere Crisis project and workshop. So this is going to be a studio session, and it is going to bring to life more of this interactive film project and also feature some of the amazing creators who are involved. And this is going to also be streamed from Montana, kind of in the studio, connecting with some of the Indigenous artists who are working on this Cryosphere Crisis project. So I recommend checking that out. Right after, we will have, or kind of partway through, I believe, at the end of that, there's kind of two things happening. You could either stick around in the vision train and tune into Kath, who's a Colombian architect and landscape architect and artist of the studio, who is going to be guiding us through the entire Paisaje Sentido workshop, which is an experience into our inner landscape. Fun fact, we think about architecture and we often think about our external architecture. And so one thing that I think has been a theme of all of our architects in the studio, especially we have three femme, amazing architects who have been doing a lot of work around inner architecture and how that relates to outer architecture and ontological design. So this workshop will offer a journey into the inner landscape as an opportunity to bring awareness into our sensory system. You'll need some supplies. So definitely get paper, pencils, colors, markers, or watercolors, and get ready to get creative. So that's happening. This is all Pacific time, Pacific Daylight Time. So I know everyone's on all the sides of the earth. So this should be updating in your time zone. At the same time, your alternative option in the space is to go to experience of sound alchemy and collective dreaming. And so this is an immersion into the self of intention, playing with the instrument of our bodies through feeling, sound, visualization, and intention. And so this is going to be with Denise, who is an evolutionary futurist, information architect, and art director, and revolutionary of the Design Science Studio. So at 3:50, so at the end of Kat's workshop, just about 10 minutes before Denise's experience ends, we have a really special Rights of Nature Initiative panel that's going to be happening in this main space. So this is something that is organized by Claire Hedden, who has been leading up the GRC, the Global Regeneration Collab Arts Group, and also has another amazing initiative that she leads, brought to us, really the connection thanks to Mark Smith, the Design Science Studio, really weaving one of our partners in. And she has been helping to draft the Rights of Nature into the US Constitution as a collaborative living document. And so this is attributing rights to nature. If you're not familiar with this movement, I recommend that you check this out. The Rights of Nature movement is critically important to the future of our planet. And if you didn't know, there are rights to corporations that are similar to rights of personhood, but nature doesn't have these rights. There are places around the world that have been granting them, and these are stories that need to be told. This is definitely the good news. And so Claire has been working on drafting Rights of Nature into the US Constitution. And so we get to learn about the Rights of Nature movement, the rights of all living beings, and we really recommend, if you can, come and check it out. And then at the end of that, we'll move into our PLANetARY Salon. Right now it's not populating, but I can tell you that we will be hearing from Marley Benedicto, Della, Claire is also going to do another session, and Vitra. So we are on the Vision Train, and the Vision Train has created the Vision Train Academy. And so we'll get to hear about that project as well. In addition to sharing a little bit more about the Design Science Studio, a really exciting campaign that just launched that we're raising money to support the Design Science Studio, being able to scaffold and support more artists and creative initiatives to empower revolutionary, regenerative futures that work for all life. And we'll get to also kind of kick off our celebration of the evening with Wahimia, one of our artists in Kenya who will be showing a bit of music. And then we also have an amazing artist from the Vision Train who's going to be live painting, whose name I wrote down and then forgot, and it's in the schedule. But really excited about Sarah Kushwara, who will be live painting. And I know there's some other live painters who will be coming as well. So you'll start to see their work populating. And if you want to make art, please feel free to create. We'd love to amplify your visions. And so please, please, please, please come. And tonight we will have a dance party. And so we have some really, really amazing DJs who are coming. Two of them, one of them is Bloom. I just learned about his music from one of our fellow artists of the studio who wove him in. He's actually going to also be streaming live in Colorado, which I'm really excited about. And then we have DJ Dakini, who is a visionary, an advisor, a collaborator of the Design Science Studio, who is also an amazing, amazing, amazing activist, artist, and just regenerative warrior in this world, and happens to also make music. and is our resident DJ. She's the best. So she's going to be doing a very special Earth Day celebration. And so we hope that you tune in for that. Obviously, a super exciting day ahead. And definitely recommend take some breaks, put your feet on the earth, breathe some air, hug a tree, and play with us. I'm going to play a super short video. It's about 2 minutes long. And then we're going to introduce an amazing, amazing artist who is joining us, who is a dear friend of the Vision Train. So before I do that, I am just going to play a little video that was pre-recorded, but is really helping ground us into some of the important principles of consent that we are really committed to in, you know, a life-affirming future that works for all. And this video was created by Margie Marlowe of the Design Science Studio. And we are really working to try to make sure that we're, you know, in a constant state of learning and unlearning and understanding power structures. And so this is rising in consent and also learning about how we can show up and remember on this really special day how we might, you know, bring more awareness into our presence as we move across the rest of this day and the summit. So I just want to say thanks to so many people who have helped make today possible and the summit possible and this mission possible, and to all the artists and the earth and seen and unseen and all of the ancestors and the forecestors that we're collaborating and co-creating for. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's enjoy this short video. I'm going to hand it over to Alicia Sacred Heart, who will introduce Cornflower, and then we will have an amazing musical experience with Cornflower that will start in just 3 minutes.
Welcome to Regenera, where our ideas build the city, and those ideas work for 100% of all life. My name is Margie, and I will be your guardian of consent today. Here on Regenera and beyond, many hands can create a space of safety and love as we are all here together creating this container. An excellent way to continue to cultivate any space, especially a floating city, is to center consent. Consent is beyond permission. It takes into account that every human, every piece of life on Earth has some sort of voice and deserves choices that cultivate a container of agency around oneself in any interaction. Consent is something that we engage in every day, from making decisions with friends, to asking someone for a hug, to telling someone no, and even to choose not to litter. While consent is something that we engage in every day, we also engage in non-consensual systems every day, such as capitalism, white supremacy, the patriarchy, and any system that forces us to participate in order to maintain power. The Earth is regularly forgotten in conversations around consent and boundaries. How are we not listening to the Earth's boundaries when the Earth holds the most power of all? At its core, consent is regenerative. It is infinite and something that we can practice with one another and the planet every single day. It is freely given, uncoerced, and non-exclusive. It asks the question of, where do I hold power when I navigate this place? And how do I empower the agency of others with the power that I do have? As creators, change makers, artists, activists, teachers, and students, we must act with integrity, accountability, and love in our hearts as we usher in a new era. Love is also a regenerative gift that we give each other. Love has been commodified and has been placed in a box as something that is finite, when in reality, we can act in love every day, whenever we want, and love and consent are caring acts. It is both tangible and intangible. It is infinite. Love is a cornerstone in the foundation of Regenera. Digital boundaries are a newer and more nuanced sector of how consent operates. How will we continue to support one another in this space today as we meet globally across cultures on the internet? As we enter this space of questioning, discovery, and learning today, I encourage us all to get out of our comfort zones and to learn new concepts. Growth begins at the edge of your comfort zone, and sometimes emotional activation can be the vital tonic that we need to learn something new. I also encourage everyone to take care of yourselves and to take care of others today while engaging online. Together, we can create a new world that works for 100% of all life. I hope that you gain some new skills, engage with some incredible art, and enjoy the journey of Regenera Rising.
Amazing. Always such a gift to hear from Margie. And thank you so much for sharing that, Roxy, that message from her, from the ethers, wherever and whenever she was and is and will be. How's everybody feeling out there? We've had a pretty full session these last few hours, and we're getting ready to kick off an incredible music set. I thought it would be good for us to just share a little gratitude and pause our live stream and then take a couple breaths and then come back. How does that sound, Roxy?
Perfect. Sounds good. So I will I'll put the slide up. So if you are out there in the live stream world, come on in. The tickets are at bit.ly/Regenera Rising, and no one will be turned away for lack of funds. We want to play with you, so come join us in this special celebration.